the SNES Classic, or the SNES Mini, but whatever you want to call it. Today we're going to be taking a look at their version that was made available in North America. You know, the SNES Classic was something that brought to me an experience that I just haven't felt since I was a child. Even just buying it was something that was nostalgic because I had to wait in line overnight at a store with other like-minded gamers just to get my hands on one, and I haven't had to do that since the release of the Nintendo 64. So, since I was able to get two, I figured, you know what? Why not share the experience of unboxing it with you, cover some of the features, and share some fun facts along the way. But blah 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 blah, that's enough talking. Let's take a look. Okay, so here you see we have the box for the SNES Classic, and it's slightly glossy but very well presented with some beautiful pictures. And on the back here you'll see the list of games for it. Now what I'm going to do now is put a picture up, and feel free to pause here if you want to take a closer look at the list of games. Okay, so I'm about to open up this box, but honestly I struggled with it for a bit here, as you can see, so rather than forcing you to watch that, how about I share with you a fun fact? Were you aware that out of the 21 built-in games included within the North American and European editions, 5 of those games are exclusive to those regions? Likewise, the Japanese Super Famicom Mini comes with its own set of 5 games that are also exclusively playable only on that system. Pretty neat, right? Well, now that I figured out how to open this, let's do a brief rundown of what's inside. So on the top, you'll see a manual, and I'm going to open that up for you here separately. Because actually, aside from this little warning slip here, it's actually kind of cool what they did. You see, it unfolds into this super awesome poster with the old slogan, "Now you're playing with superpower." Remember that? And then on the back, it's got instructions on how to set up the system in case you were unsure. So I like how they presented this here to make it somewhat collectible. Anyway, moving right along, next we have the actual SNES Classic system here, and as you can see, it's pretty tiny, and actually I remember when I first saw just the box in person, it was smaller than I anticipated. But there it is, basically a scaled down replica of the original. And on the back here, you have the HDMI input and the power input, and look how easily it just fits in the palm of my hand. Moving on, speaking of handhelds, here you have the controllers, and it does come with 2, but you can see they've got the classic button layout, and attached to them are the cords, which are shorter than you might expect, as I'll demonstrate here because they're a little over 4.5 feet in length, so keep that in mind when planning your setup. Next up, we have the AC adapter plug-in, which I'll just go ahead and open up now, so you can take a closer look at that. It's a standard 2-prong variation. And then here we have the actual USB power cord, which would go into the back of the AC adapter plug-in, or even any regular USB port. Finally, wrapping things up, we have an HDMI cord packed in, but it's relatively short, so I'd actually recommend possibly buying a longer one to help make your life easier when setting things up. So that's the SNES Classic, and I give it a thumbs up, but before I quickly talk about the setup and some features, it's time for another fun fact. Of the games available on the SNES Classic, can you name the top 3 that sold the most? That honor goes to Super Mario Kart in 3rd, Donkey Kong Country in 2nd, and Super Mario World did sell the most overall, but it was also bundled with the original Super Nintendo at launch, which ultimately helped the console gain its initial popularity. So with the setup, the size of the SNES Classic is great since it allows you to take it with you and plug into any compatible HDMI device anywhere, so you can play it in the comfort of your own home, in the privacy of your own bathroom, or even with fellow coworkers during a company meeting. Though I'd recommend you actually work and stick to playing at home only. Okay, so now let's turn on the system as I briefly go through some of the features. Now here you'll see the home screen, which appears when you turn on the system, and you'll notice that there are 21 games to choose from. Also, now is a good time to mention that cartridges do not work with the SNES Classic, only these games you see here are built in. At first, Star Fox 2 is locked, and all you'll have to do is beat the first level of the original, which I imagine is to help you get the feel of things, and then after that, you'll unlock and be able to play the never-before officially released Star Fox 2. Now for this video, I'm not going to show any gameplay, so if you want to know more about Star Fox 2, stick around because I may cover the story behind that on a later episode. Now again, I'm steering away from full-blown reviews and gameplay in this video, as I'll likely do some in the future, but I will mention a few quick features in particular. First, using Super Mario World as an example, the SNES Classic has a rewind feature where, let's say if I start this level and die, if I'm not happy with my mistake, no problem. I just reset the system, hit down on the D-pad, and then hit the X button, which will allow me to rewind or fast forward to the point right before I died, allowing me the chance to try again. Pretty cool, right? Though I should note it only allows you to rewind for a certain length of time, so choose your mistakes carefully. Also, the SNES Classic introduces save states, so again, I can reset the system, push down, and then hit the Y button, which will allow me to save exactly where I'm at in case I need to leave and come back later. There is also the ability to switch up the look of the games by choosing between 3 variations of display settings. The first being a CRT that emulates the look of an old CRT television and gives it a retro, liney look to it. Then there's the 4x3 option, which I use the most. And then finally Pixel Perfect, which cleans things up a bit and looks the nicest, but it's also the smallest on the screen. You can also change the frame on the outside of the gameplay to help give your screen a more personalized look. There are a few other minor features that I could go over, like how you can look up the user manuals on your phone for each game using QR codes. And then there are language settings as well, but that's pretty self-explanatory, and I don't want to keep you here all day, so really as far as the SNES Classic goes, that's pretty much all there is to say. So, now that we know a little bit more about the SNES Classic, do you plan on picking one up? Or maybe you already own one? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, keep in mind they're currently available in North America for $79.99, but please be warned, stay away from scalpers and don't spend more than $100 on one. Also, currently on my channel, I'm doing a giveaway until November 1st of 2017 for this SNES Classic, so if you haven't checked that out, I'll post it up right here, and be sure to subscribe to the channel and comment on that video letting me know which game from the SNES Classic you'd like to see me do a future video on. That's it for this episode though. Up next is Final Fantasy month, so I'll see you real soon for that, but until then, I'll catch you next time. Take care.